Good afternoon and welcome back to another video. Things are pretty much the same with us here. We've been working really hard the last couple of weeks on the renovation of our little stone cottage. We're working on fixing up the chimney area where we've removed the chimney from the living room so that we can have the stove exposed and have a more cozy, warmer, more efficient winter. We've also been working on the kitchen, which is also a renovation in progress. And yeah, we've been spending a lot of time at the hospital. Our son is probably a month old by the time you're watching this, and he's still in the ICU. I know a lot of people have been sending their wishes and asking after him and asking after us and how we're all doing, so I will try and answer some of those questions and give you an update on that at some point if we can find a moment to sit down and actually answer your questions. It's been a pretty intense few weeks. We've been incredibly lucky that we've had a volunteer with us for the last couple of weeks, Laurence from Quebec, and she's been amazing. She's just been the most incredible help. We really weren't sure whether we should ask her to come or let her come, basically, because when we have volunteers we want to give them a certain kind of experience, and I want to be cooking really good food for them, and we want them to learn something, and just to get a lot out of their experience, the time that they're giving us. And I wasn't sure whether we would be able to do that this time with everything going on, but she was really keen to come anyway and just experience life here and help out in anything she could, and she's been absolutely amazing, so we're incredibly grateful to her. She's taken so many jobs off our hands. She's an amazing cook. And she's been incredibly helpful these last couple of weeks, just getting involved in absolutely anything. So that's been our life over the last few weeks, and a big part of my life as well has also been expressing milk, which is honestly like a full-time job. I'm not even kidding, in hours when you count in the hours that you're doing it and the sterilization of stuff and the cleaning and the tidying up and the setting up. It's honestly a third of my time, day and night. So that's been a big part of my life, and I haven't really been helping all that much on anything else because I don't have the time. So you'll see a lot of Mauro in this video, a lot of Laurence as well, and I hope you enjoy seeing what we've been up to. So the edge of the stove would be like, what, here?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Okay, so I measured the stove and it's 72 by 58. It's 80, so I thought it looks nice to keep it straight. Yeah, it's 82, something like that. You're gonna make cement? Make cement. Don't do half measures with buckets and stuff. Just all or nothing. I was trying to level it, but I ran out of cement, so I need to make a bit more.
And crisp.
If you feed it
I can feed it to you.
Yeah, if you feed it to me, yes, I want it.
You look like you need some salt.
What?
You look like you needed some salt.
I need some water.
After building a new platform for our stove to sit on, it was time to fix the wall where we'd ripped the old chimney down.
So yeah, the builders that did the floors told me that these kind of walls, they're very dusty because the mortar they use is not like cement, it's just soil, and it just crumbles a lot. So they told me to use a sealant, and that will help like the new layer of mortar to stick to the wall. That's the idea. This stuff, bonding resin, is what it says. We're filling in the gaps in the stone to eventually plaster everything and get it as flat as possible. Not gonna be possible to make it super flat because you see it can show an edge, but yeah, just filling in the biggest gaps really. Yeah, we sort of locked ourselves into doing this job because the sealant thing only lasts for 48 hours. Actually, I broke some stones that had the sealant on, and it makes like a film around them because I broke a bit and it kind of got stuck and didn't fall, and it was because I had that like plasticky film that the sealant did. So it does something.
After filling in the biggest gaps with cement, it was time to apply the final layer of plaster.
We really tried to like stick as much as we could to like the natural shape of the stone. I think it looks really cool. And then this is what I think the builders told us that would happen, and which is I thought it was gonna be black like the soot, but I think it's the soot reacting with the plaster and making that orange color. We're trying to see if we apply more material, it will cover it. I don't think it will work, but maybe we weren't as thorough as we thought we were with the sealant.
Once the downstairs was done, Mauro started the same process again on the upstairs part of the old chimney. I'm upstairs in the bedroom, and I was out all day yesterday pretty much at the hospital, so when I got back I didn't even see this. I was super tired. I just kind of went straight to bed and I didn't see what Mauro and Laurence had been doing, and I can see it today this morning and it's amazing. So they were working on covering up this chimney section in the upstairs, and you can see that they've put cement all over it and covered up all the loose rocks and stones and stuff that were hanging out. They've done a really good job. They said it was really fiddly, and they've kept to the like natural shape of the stones, which we tried downstairs, and we really like the look of it, and they've gone for the same effect upstairs, and I think it looks so good. It's going to look so nice when it's got the white plaster on it as well and it's all painted. So yeah, they've done an amazing job, especially since this section of the chimney is way bumpier and rockier than the downstairs bit. Today they're going to be working on trying to fill in this big hole with a gap to put the stove pipe up through it. So that's a bit of a technical challenge, but that's what they're going to be working on today.
Hello, I'm a miner. We are...
Ooh.
Sorry, that's my fault. I was...
Right here.
So how much are you measuring?
I'm measuring 37.
Okay, it's 37, let's do 44 again.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So we are going to fill this in with concrete, this hole, but leaving a hole for the tube of the stove. So we are putting some metal rebar for reinforcement. We're also going to put a wire mesh just in case, and then just pour concrete by putting sorry, I can't use my hands to explain because I'm holding the mark for a hole, but like we're going to put a wooden plank here and hold it with the puntales. Don't know what it's called in English.
No.
And then hopefully that will be enough to cover this with concrete.
Yeah.
So we're making holes for the rebar. Someone tell me if it's a crazy idea what we're doing, but I don't think it is.
Well, it's too late, isn't it?
Well, by the time you tell me it's going to be too late, but anyways, tell me if I'm an idiot. Zombies ever come, I can make weapons. So close, yet so far. Well, what if we cut this?
Yeah, what if the piece that you...
What if this is too big?
Have you been eating a little carob tofu? What's this? What's this?
Hey.
Or actually it could be good to measure from the top.
On top, I don't know how.
I see how centered.
Like as long as we're centered here, I'm happy. The-ish. I'm gonna cut the mesh up until here. Oh, we're good. So we haven't poured any cement, so there's no weight on top, so that means that these things are a bit wobbly at the moment, but thanks to like general friction and like just putting things in place, it's holding on there. I think it's gonna make more sense when we pour the cement and it's just gonna hold.
Looks good. There's Mauro's hand.
Yeah, I know.
Holding it in place. Oh!
Calm down.
We've got a roof hole.
It's pretty good.
Does it feel solid? Like, give it a hit.
Yeah, this is going nowhere. Solid as a rock.
God, it's ugly. We need to...
Wow, we're gonna cover it now.
I know. Good job.
It's a bit wonky, but we'll fix it. We'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's gonna move. It has the metal rods.
Yeah.
You have to remember. So I like the hole.
Great. The mistake we realised we made here was that we placed the board higher than the level of the ceiling, so we had about a 5 or 10 centimetre gap that we needed to fill in somehow. We ended up using construction foam to fill in the gap. We weren't really sure it was going to stick properly to the cement, but with some inventiveness it did actually work.
A little bit less actually, sorry. Yeah, so we had trouble separating the foam from the wood when it dries.
Like taking the board away.
Yes, because it sticks to anything. So we thought about putting like wet paper, but then it's gonna get stuck to the paper, and like maybe it's just easier to, I don't know. We're putting this here so that we can, so it's in the most unreachable position, and then we're gonna use it to cut and separate from the wood board.
Like slicing cheese.
Yeah, something like that. I'm sure someone will tell me a way easier, simpler solution that will make me feel like an idiot, but this is what we came up with. Well, experiment over.
It broke.
Yeah.
Oh no. In the end, it was pretty easy to trim down the foam to leave a straightish finish ready to plaster over. We also filled in the top so it was level with the rest of the floor upstairs, and then we were just left with the hole for the stovepipe. However, before we could fix the pipe in place, there was one more job to do. Once again, I've managed to miss very exciting moments in this renovation, this time because I was out walking the dogs. And while I've been out, Laurence and Mauro have started on a really exciting job, which is tiling the little plinth where we're going to put the stove. That's all that noise that you can hear behind me. Anything you want to say about this process?
I watched some videos, so I sort of know what I'm doing. It's fun to do. I think I still need to get a hang of like the quantities and like the technique, but it's all right. I think my main issue is that the floor wasn't level to start with, and this platform that we did also is not level.
Well, you've got your little spirit level here.
Yeah, but...
Oh yeah, it's not level.
But the existing of the spirit level doesn't guarantee a level.
Hard to get it under, I guess. Maybe at the back it's a bit too much in the middle. You ever heard? No, it's not that bad.
You happy so far?
As a perfectionist and someone who likes doing things precisely, no. but it's not the fault of the tiling job. It's just that the platform and the room are not square, so it's hard to make everything square.
Yeah, well, this was like a learning area before we move on to do the kitchen.
Yeah, this is gonna be mainly covered by the stove, so you're not gonna be able to see how wonky it is.
In the end, I think the plinth turned out looking so good, but before we could put the stove in place, we had a bit of a kitchen emergency. But the hospital have run out of space to store my milk. We're going to buy a freezer and had to divert our attention. So I will show you what's been going on there in the next video. So I just came to pump some water for the house from the deposit behind me, and I noticed that this orange tree that we've got in this terrace down here is looking really sorry for itself. It's looking really water stressed, and I'm quite surprised because I have never had to water any of the trees down here and everything seems to grow really well. I was under the impression that this deposit probably just leaked into the ground and everything was getting more than enough water, but apparently not. This tree looks really sad. So for now I've just brought a hose pipe down. Oh, the battery's just run out, and I'm going to give it a good water, and then I'm going to go and get some irrigation pieces because I have got an irrigation pipe coming from this deposit and I can extend it to put some irrigation onto this tree because I think it's going to need it over the rest of the summer. I've also noticed down here some grapes which are basically ready. It's really early, it's like the 6th of August today, and last year it wasn't until September when we were even testing these grapes. And yeah, I think now is probably the perfect time to pick some of these and make some juice, so I might do that later as well. This grapevine, we haven't pruned it at all. This big branch here is just hanging down from where it's been growing through an olive tree, and it comes all the way over here. It goes right up into that tree and even kind of comes over. I think the rootstock for this grapevine is actually on the other side, and it makes a kind of archway here, which is really nice. Here we go. I think this is the branch that leads all the way back to this other tree, which is also laden with grapes that are also ready. So this tree is looking quite a lot happier now after its big drink the other day. We just got super distracted eating grapes. This vine is so good this year. I don't know why, and there's not a single like rotten or broken grape on any of the bunches, so there's no wasps or insects around. Every single grape is just perfect. Just can't stop. So it seems like past me already had this idea, and I've left a T on this bit of piping that's going out of this deposit. So all I need to do is take this cap off and reduce this 40mm piece of pipe down to 32 so that I can use the cheaper, more abundant piping that I've got, and then we'll take it over here to the tree, which is just over there. I know I need to trim this field. Moses hasn't got here yet, so it's a bit of a mess. And then I need a little tap for the end. Okay, no leaks here. Cool. I don't think we're going to get any oranges from this tree this year, despite going to all this effort to look after it. But, oh, hello. Yeah, I guess it's just not a good year for oranges. I can't even see any little fruit on this tree. And by now, usually there are lots of little green fruits on here. I can't even see one. But here it doesn't matter really, because it's going to the tree.
I lost Una's favorite toy, which is a plastic frisbee, and yeah, I just threw it and it caught wind and it just flew away too far and I can't find it now. And I was feeling really sad, so I bought it exactly the same frisbee again.
Second frisbee in a month.
Second frisbee in a month, but
gotta be better with this one.
Show Una, don't show me. Una! Frisbee! Almost lost it again.
Don't you dare. Another 15 euros.
Ah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Cabras también cuando están.
¿Qué es? Lo de dentro. Necesitaba puntos. Eso de papel, que me compró un pie y está, ya, pues de...
So Harriet found out this morning during her dog walk that a big branch of this plum tree that you might remember from last year that we grabbed like 2 boxes worth of plums, it's on the floor and it looks like it snapped from the wind. Maybe you can take like a bit of a picture of how it snapped and maybe someone in the comments will be able to detect it the way it broke. But yeah, what we're doing is we're picking the fruit that hasn't touched the floor, and because we tasted the ones that have touched the floor and they started fermenting, so they're not very edible, so we'll feed those to the chickens, save what we can from here, and the fruits still on the tree are not really ready to eat yet, so we'll come do a second harvest.
So this is the break on the tree. It's quite high up, and this is the branch all the way over here, so I don't know how it got so far away. This is just where we discovered it. This is the crime scene we discovered. So I don't know if the wind would have dragged it all the way over here. Or maybe it was an animal. A bull,
or maybe the worst animal of all, man.
Yeah, we really don't know for sure what's happened here, but it's pretty sad. Hi, so we're in the car on the way to the hospital, and this is the only moment I found in the last week to sit down and answer some of your questions, so hopefully I can remove the background noise in the car. We'll see how it goes, and hopefully I don't distract Mauro too much. He doesn't look like he's going to be easily distracted. So we had a lot of questions on Instagram and lots of people asking in the comments about how we're doing and how Santi's doing. Thanks to everyone who asked after us as well. We're doing pretty good. Speaking for myself, I'm I don't know, I feel like I'm living like a double life at the moment, where half of my life is like super busy and a little bit stressful and just trying to fit a million things into the amount of time we've got in the day. When we're back at the house and we're doing the renovation work and we've got so much stuff going on, literally every minute is just full of something. And then the other half of the day is in the hospital, and it's super peaceful and relaxed. There's air conditioning, and we're just calm, and we're with Santi, and I've got all the time in the world to express milk and sit in a chair and read and knit or whatever, depending on whose turn it is to do the kangaroo care. And they're just like two completely different worlds. So yeah, I kind of feel like I'm living in between those two situations at the moment, which is really weird. But in general, we're doing good. How are you doing, Mal?
Yeah, I share a lot of things that you just said. Driving actually is kind of like a good break in between the two. Kind of allows me to clear my head from one and just be in the mindset for the hospital and vice versa. But yeah, in general, it's great being on paternity leave. Love it.
How is Santi doing? Lots of people asking after him as well, of course. He's doing okay. He was doing really well. He got out of the ICU within like, I don't know, 9 or 10 days after being born, after being admitted. He was doing really well. He was gaining weight. He was not needing any extra oxygen or monitoring. And he was out for like 2 days and he got a gut infection. So he's been back in the ICU since then, unfortunately. Gut infections in premature babies can be quite serious, so it's been a little bit stressful, and he's just kind of come off the antibiotics now and seems to be on the other side of the infection. They're reintroducing milk really slowly. He had to be like nil by mouth while he was fighting the infection. The doctors are still a little bit unsure about whether he could have inherited a condition which might require surgery, so we're still kind of waiting on that. It's not something that's apparently always easy to diagnose, so we've just got to wait on that one. So everything's kind of up in the air, but he's healthy and stable again now, so that's good. But yeah, at one point we thought he would be out of the ICU within a couple of weeks. He was almost at his goal weight and he didn't need any other kind of oxygen or anything. So things were looking really good, and now we really just have no idea how long we have to wait until they can make a diagnosis about his condition. So yeah, we really don't know at the moment. Why don't we get builders in to do the remaining work on the house so that we don't have to worry and we can spend more time at the hospital? We got builders in to do a bunch of stuff a few weeks ago, and it was a miracle to actually be able to find builders who would do that work for us at fairly short notice. I must have phoned around about 15 different builders and no one was doing anything until the end of the year, the new year. It's not that easy to find people who will just do work for you like immediately when you want it. There's a shortage and people are booked up for a long time.
Well,
and people don't work in August.
Yeah.
So that was in July when we managed to find some people to do that work for us, and in August, absolutely no chance. So we got them for as long as we could, then they had to go to another job and we have to do the rest ourselves. Also, it's not super cheap.
Yeah,
we couldn't afford to have builders do the entire renovation for us right now. So we've paid for what we can. We found people to do what we can, and the rest we're doing ourselves. We're doing the bare minimum that we can in order to make the house winterproof. We're not trying to achieve that much, so I think we're striking a good balance. It might be that I end up spending longer at the hospital, like full days when Santi is able to breastfeed, because right now he can't, and yeah, I don't need to be there all the time. I can't be there all the time. He can't be out of his incubator all the time, but when he's a little bigger and stronger and can breastfeed, we might rethink things, and yeah, maybe me being there so that every couple of hours I can at least be at like a bunch of his feeds would be really good. But yeah, right now we're just trying to balance being there as much as we can with getting at least like 2 or 3 hours of work done on the house every day so that we can get it in a decent state for winter. But it's a good question. I know a lot of people are probably thinking, why on earth are we doing all of this renovation work at this particular point in our lives? Could we not just wait?
We have to.
But we have to.
And we can't afford to pay other people to do it. It's like the same as
Yeah.
most other people.
Yeah, I would honestly love to just sit back and worry about nothing else apart from expressing milk and cuddling Santi and just have nothing on my plate apart from that, but that's not the reality that we're in, and yeah, we're doing the best we can. Will the baby sleep in our room? Yes, there's no other option really. If you haven't seen from this video yet, there is only one room downstairs and one room upstairs, which is the bedroom, so he will sleep in our bedroom. One day we'll do something with the ruin and we'll build a family home there, hopefully. But for now, yeah, he'll be in our room with us. Quite a few questions on my experience with like Spanish hospital system and public healthcare here in Spain. I actually want to put a video together on all of that because I think that would be really useful. I was looking for information on what it was like giving birth in Spanish public hospitals, just the experience in general, and I have had the experience of being admitted. I've seen a lot of different areas of the maternity and neonatal areas of the hospital. I'm basically going to try and make the video that I wish had existed when I was looking into all of this. So at some point I will make that and I'll share my experience. How do we think the channel will change now that we have a baby? Am I going to be making like baby videos and baby content? No. Well, he'll be in videos in like an incidental way, I think is what we feel kind of comfortable with at the moment. I don't really want to make him the content of any shorts or videos or make videos like about him, but I'm also not going to try and completely hide him from existence. He's going to be living with us, and yeah, if he's in a shot doing something, I'm not going to try and hide him behind a tree or blur him out or anything like that. So you will see him, but I don't really want the content of the channel to change because I think most people have come here for the farmsteading kind of homesteading content, and that's what we're going to carry on sharing. I don't know, that's kind of how we feel at the moment. Maybe that'll change, maybe that'll change as he gets older, but yeah, right now that's how we feel. What are our plans for next week and next month, and how have they changed? Right now I can't really think to next month, but our plans for next week. What are your plans for next week, Mal? Because my plans are just
Half of every day is going to the hospital and seeing the baby, and then in the house we do what we can, but at the moment it's tiling floors for me.
yeah, we're going to start on the kitchen. Oh no, we're going to do the kitchen this week. Next week, hopefully the living room. He's an expert tiler now. And yeah, next month, September, I don't know. Yeah, it's impossible to say because I don't know whether Santi will be at home with us at any point. Yeah, I mean, we'll carry on with the house renovation. We'll carry on with the floors and trying to get someone in to do the doors and all of that stuff. Quite slow going because we don't have a lot of time in a day to work on these things. The fact that I'm kind of unavailable to help on this stuff means that Mauro is doing a lot of chores. He's getting some hours of work in. We've got to eat. And then by the time we've had lunch, it's time to go to the hospital, basically. So there's really just not a lot of time.
And it's a really hot summer.
Yeah, in the heat. So everything is slower and harder than it would be otherwise. And yeah, all we can do is just go at the pace that we can go at, get a little bit done every day, make progress. Yeah, when it gets done, it'll be done. But it really does feel like we're getting there, and it really does feel like we're working on the right stuff and not really wasting the precious time that we have. So I think we're doing really well considering, and I feel really positive about being able to get everything done by the time we need to. And yeah, things have been pretty intense. I feel like we haven't really got a break mentally or physically for months and months and months now. Yeah, we're okay. I think that's all the questions answered either here or on Instagram. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and see you in the next one.